The man on television smiled calmly while the world held its breath. Nuclear missiles stood ready on both sides of the Iron Curtain. Inflation was eating away at everyday life, and trust in political leaders was at historic lows. Yet the voice coming through the screen sounded relaxed, almost reassuring. He cracked jokes, quoted old stories, and spoke about America as if it were a promise that simply needed to be remembered. In an age of fear and uncertainty, confidence itself became a political weapon. That confidence was not born in Washington. It came from small-town America. Born on February 6, 1911, in Tampico, Illinois, Ronald Wilson Reagan grew up far from the centers of power. His father, Jack Reagan, worked as a shoe salesman and struggled with alcoholism, while his mother, Nell, was deeply religious and endlessly optimistic. From her, Reagan learned the importance of storytelling and moral clarity. From his father's struggles, he absorbed lessons about resilience, failure, and forgiveness. The Reagan family moved frequently, never settling for long, and young Ronald learned early how unstable life could be. At Eureka College, a small liberal arts school, Reagan was more notable for his personality than his grades. He played football, acted in plays, and immersed himself in student activities. More importantly, he learned how to speak in front of people. After graduating during the Great Depression, he found work as a radio sports announcer. Without live footage, he recreated baseball games from sparse telegraph updates, filling gaps with imagination and confidence. Listeners never knew when he was improvising. What mattered was that he sounded believable. Hollywood soon followed. In 1937, Reagan signed a contract with Warner Bros. And began a film career that would last over 20 years. He appeared in more than 50 movies, often portraying decent, straightforward characters. His most famous role, playing football hero George Gipp in Knute Rockne, All-American, earned him the nickname the Gipper. Reagan was not a legendary actor, but he became familiar, and familiarity builds trust. Audiences felt they knew him. World War II kept Reagan out of combat due to poor eyesight, but he served by producing military training films. After the war, his life shifted again. As president of the Screen Actors Guild, Reagan became deeply involved in labor disputes and anti-communist efforts in Hollywood. Originally a Democrat and admirer of Franklin D. Roosevelt, Reagan grew uneasy with what he saw as excessive government power and ideological extremism within unions. Over time, his politics evolved. By the early 1960s, he had fully embraced conservatism, arguing that government was too big, taxes too high, and individual freedom under threat. The turning point came in 1964 with a televised speech supporting Republican presidential candidate Barry Goldwater. The address, later known as A Time for Choosing, warned Americans that they faced a moral crossroads between freedom and government control. Reagan's delivery was calm but firm, emotional but controlled. The speech made him a national figure overnight. 2 years later, he was elected governor of California. His tenure was complex, campaigned as a fiscal conservative, yet approved tax increases to close budget deficits. He took a tough stance against student protests and civil unrest, particularly at UC Berkeley, reflecting the social turbulence of the late 1960s. At the same time, he signed a liberal abortion law, something he later described as a deep regret. These contradictions revealed Reagan not as a simple ideologue, but as a politician adapting to reality. After losing the Republican presidential nomination to Gerald Ford in 1976, Reagan waited. By 1980, the nation was ready. The economy was struggling with high inflation and unemployment. The Iran hostage crisis symbolized American weakness abroad. Reagan offered optimism instead of apology. His message was simple: America's best days were not behind it. He won the presidency in a landslide. Reagan became the oldest elected president at the time. His economic agenda, later called Reaganomics, focused on tax cuts, deregulation, and reducing the role of government. Supporters credit these policies with restoring growth and defeating inflation. Critics argue they widened inequality and expanded national debt. Both claims have merit. What mattered politically was that Reagan made Americans feel hopeful again. Reagan governed as a delegator. He trusted advisors, avoided policy details, and focused on vision and messaging. Critics called him disengaged. Supporters saw a leader who understood priorities. His greatest strength was communication. Nicknamed the Great Communicator, Reagan spoke in stories, jokes, and simple moral contrasts. He framed politics as a battle of ideas rather than spreadsheets. Foreign policy defined his legacy. Reagan entered office fiercely anti-communist, labeling the Soviet Union an evil empire and dramatically increasing defense spending. His Strategic Defense Initiative proposed a missile shield that critics mocked as unrealistic. But history revealed another side of Reagan. When Mikhail Gorbachev rose to power in the Soviet Union, Reagan recognized an opportunity. The two leaders met repeatedly, clashing fiercely but developing mutual respect. Their negotiations led to the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty in 1987, eliminating an entire class of nuclear weapons. Reagan's famous challenge at the Berlin Wall, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall," symbolized both pressure and possibility. By the time Reagan left office, the Cold War was nearing its end. While no single leader ended it, Reagan's willingness to shift from confrontation to cooperation proved crucial. Not everything went smoothly. The Iran-Contra affair revealed that members of his administration had secretly sold arms to Iran and funded Contra rebels in Nicaragua, bypassing Congress. Reagan denied authorizing illegal actions, but the scandal raised serious concerns about oversight. Despite this, his personal popularity remained remarkably strong. In 1994, Reagan announced he had Alzheimer's disease in a handwritten letter to the American people. It was a quiet, dignified farewell. He died 10 years later, in 2004, at the age of 93. Ronald Reagan's legacy is complex and deeply influential. He reshaped the Republican Party, cemented conservatism as a dominant force in American politics, and redefined the role of presidential communication in the television age. To supporters, he was a visionary who revived the American spirit and helped end the Cold War. To critics, he was a president whose policies favored the wealthy and ignored social costs. Both views coexist because Reagan himself embodied contradictions: actor and statesman, pragmatist and ideologue, optimist and hardliner. What remains undeniable is this: Ronald Reagan understood the power of story. He believed nations, like people, are guided not just by policy, but by belief. Belief in freedom, in possibility, and in a shared future. Whether one agrees with him or not, his voice still echoes through modern politics, reminding us that leadership is as much about persuasion and hope as it is about power.